Welcome back. It's a nice cool day today. It was plus 39 the other day for the last 3 or 4 days, and now it's cooled off, so it's quite nice. Anyway, my name is Dave, and this is McCarroll Siding, my N-scale layout, and we're going to start on the mill. But before I start, I have to tell you something which is amazing. I'm starting the mill today, and it's terrain structures before we put the buildings on. But the Espanola mill is closing. October 31st, I think, is one of the last days for most employees, and then there'll be a skeleton crew to close it down completely. And Domtar is saying that they're closing it indefinitely. So it's a big hit for the city of Espanola. It's 450 people got pink slips on Wednesday. And it's a really sad day for all of us here. And it's going to affect a lot of families. So with that said, we're going to move on and actually start the mill. The comedy of starting the mill and closing the mill still gets to me, but I shouldn't be laughing. It's not a laughing matter. Anyway, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to paint the cork with a gray house latex paint, and we're going to let it dry. And depending on how quickly it dries, I will then do the tile grout covering of this painted area. I'm not sure how fast this paint dries. I got it at the local home hardware store where I get most of my supplies. And I got the paintbrushes and everything else from my favorite dollar store, the best hobby shop you can find on the planet, if you know what you're looking for. So let me switch over to, let's see, where are we going to do it? We're going to do, I think we're going to do 3. I think we're going to do camera 3. So we'll just fade it to camera 3. And there it is. So there's the wide open spaces. I've got a paintbrush and 2 rollers. And you're going to watch me paint gray paint. So it's not going to be that interesting. But like I say, if the paint dries reasonably quickly, then I will... once I've painted it, I'll stop the video and I will wait and wait for the paint to dry, and then I will do the grout ground cover for the plant. I've actually got a bunch of cameras that have views of the wide open space. What you're looking at is roughly 4 feet by 4 feet, so. You just excuse me, I'm going to go for a little walk over here to my layout, and we will get started with the paint. Okay, so we're over here now. I went to the home hardware and I got... I don't even know what size this is. Hold on, let me see if I can find out what size it is. 450 milliliters, which I don't know what that is in SAE measurements. Canada here, we're a metric country. So I've got this little can, which I've stirred up a bit, and I've got just a little tin baking tray. And I'm going to put that over here so I don't spill it by accident. And we're just going to take some paint and paint in some of the areas where the roller is not going to go. This gray paint will also be used for a gray wash over the bricks or the stones and stuff that are lining the river here. The pins that you can see, I don't know if you can see them or not. I didn't zoom in enough for you to see them, I don't think. These pins mark out where a barrier goes up around the wood chip pile that feeds the plant. And I wanted to make sure that I put it in the right spot, because basically everything on the layout goes on is an offshoot of this particular area. So I'm going to get this all done up, and then I'll start with the roller. Now, like I say, I'm not sure how long it takes this paint to dry. I will check the can when I'm finished here, and that'll give us a basic timeline to guesstimate whether we're putting grout on this today, or whether you're just going to see me paint. Now, so I'm going to put the brush in there, and I'm going to grab a little roller here, and I'm going to see if this works or not, because this is not a paint tray. This is a baking tray, and there's no place to really scrape off the stuff. So we're gonna now, what I may do, and I'm just thinking out loud here, is do a time lapse of this, or at least speed up how fast it shows in the video itself. But I don't think this is going to take very long. The gray undercoat is so that if the grout doesn't cover everywhere, at least the surface isn't the brown cork. Now, and then how I'm going to approach doing the mine once or not the mine, sorry, the plant here, the paper plant, is I'm going to do it as individual little sections. So next week we're going to put the mountain of chips in place, which I've already got built, and there'll be some work to get that to blend it into the ground itself. As you can see, the roller isn't pushing paint down all the way into the cork, which is okay. I just need to cover this so that and I guess I could have used a bigger roller and taken it less time, but I want to be careful to not get gray paint where I don't want it, which would be down the sides on the fascia of the layout. Now to switch arms, I have an artificial shoulder on my right arm, and it doesn't take kindly to this kind of repetitive motion. It lets me know it's there, and it can be quite painful. So, all right, here we'll just get more paint, and well, like I say, we're going to let this dry, and I'll actually get the grout set up. I thought originally I would paint it, and while it was still wet, I would put the grout on, but I'm not sure the grout's going to stick to this. And I wouldn't be able to control the thickness of the grout, which would mean that some buildings would be wouldn't be laying flat on the surface. So I think this is the smarter way to go. So I want to thank all those people who have subscribed. We're about 350 people who subscribe to the channel, which I appreciate. And if you haven't been watching all of my videos, you know that I basically shoot them as if they were a live show. And then I just edit in some other materials once I finish the actually shooting the episode. Now, this is probably a silly move on my part. I don't have not wearing an apron, and I got a feeling I'm going to get paint on this shirt. So there we go. So that's almost half done. The lines that you see drawn on here are lines for the roads that will be part of the mill. The track is going to come in right where that bridge is, and there we go. Okay, now we are truly half done. As I say, this is just house latex paint. There's no reason for me to spend an inordinate amount of money on some fancy paint for doing this kind of coverage. There we go. Doing this also shows me where I've got things to fill in. There's a huge big gap here that's got to have to be filled in with Sculptamold or my own private brand of homemade Sculptamold. And I'm sort of hoping that as this dries, the marker that was used to draw the roads on will sort of bleed through the paint, and that will make it easier for me to reinstall the buildings and stuff, knowing that the roads go in certain spots. We'll just add a little bit more paint here. And we'll put the can over there. All right, let's get this roller covered in paint again, and and we're coming to the end of this little section of painting, I think. Now, all the holes you see are for different parts of the plant. The largest hole that you see is for the trunk the truck dumping setup, where the trucks drive onto a hydraulic ramp. The ramp is tipped up, and the chips come down, go into a conveyor belt, and then head to the rest of the plant. Okay, we're coming. One of the nice things about dollar store purchases, you don't have to be very precious with them. You know, with this little roller, it's going in the garbage as soon as this paint is done. Okay. Now I'm looking at this a bit, and I'm saying to myself, I better get out some acrylic paste, and I've got a seam down the middle of the this cork because I bought them in big sheets, and the sheets didn't cover everything. So I might get some of my acrylic paste and fill in those gaps, although the grout might do it for me, so we're going to see. All right, so I know that wasn't very thrilling, was it? But it's the first step in getting this plant put back together. So what we're going to do now is we're going to let this paint dry. You know, I could read the French, but I'm not going to. I'm going to have to read the French because it okay, it dries in 1 hour. Cessez au toucher en 1 heure. So that means you could touch it in 1 hour, and you can put a new coat on 6 hours afterwards. Well, we're not putting another coat on this, so we do have an hour to wait for this to dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk back over to the camera. I'm going to pause the recording, and we'll come back in an hour and see if it really does dry in an hour, and then we'll maybe do some of the grout. I might just do the grout in this area so that we can do this section with everything. Sorry, that was my phone. And if you don't recognize the tune it plays, it's Scotland the Brave, because I was born in Scotland. Came here when I was about 5. So anyway, that's an aside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to the studio part of the basement, and we will pause the video, and I'll come back down here in an hour. That's pretty good because we're probably going to have supper right about now. And then the paint should be dry, and we'll give it a shot down here and see what it looks like. So just give me a second and I'll go back over there. Oh, okay, so we're back here, and like I said, we're going to let it dry for an hour, and I'm going to get out some. I'm going to get out the grout. I've got some little containers of grout here, but for an area that big, I'm going to need some more. So I'm going to find where I've put the bags of grout. I know they're close by, and we will put that in place. So anyway, let's call it quits for now, and I'll see you in an hour, and we'll either be doing the grout, or it'll be the end of the video. So I'll see you in an hour. So we're back. I finished supper, and we're going to get right back at it on the layout. Now, half of the space that is the mill has been coated with grout. I did it as a test to make sure it would work before we go and actually show you how I do it. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to switch over to camera 3. Where we go into camera 3 here. Hold on. Well, let me just do it this way then. Camera 3. And I'm going to do the other half so you can see, or I'm going to do a little bit of the other half so you can see, because it's pretty repetitive and it doesn't really make for a great video. So give me a second, I'll go over there and I will start doing the ground cover. Yeah. So we've got this done, and I put this in place so you can see what next week's focus will be. This is drying now. This one is drier, not completely dry, but drier. And we're going to work on the other half here. So I have a bottle of water and a bottle of isopropyl alcohol. And I'm going to bring the grout and the sifter over to that side of the layout. And I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to put it. I think I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put it in the river, and we will vacuum up whatever mess is made here. So, and there you can see the bag. The bags are not inexpensive. I mean, they're like $40 for a bag, but it does make nice ground cover, especially for industrial sets where most of the ground is either concrete or it is dirt. And so I've just loaded up the sifter, and now I'm just going to take the isopropyl alcohol and wet down the whole surface. Now this spray bottle, you can find it on, I think I got this one on Amazon, where I get a lot of stuff. And what's happening here is this sprayer doesn't stop spraying when you let go. It actually sprays when the trigger is going back to its start position. So it gives you a nice, even surface. So there we go. I'm going to spray a little bit of water as well. That'll help start the and now we're going to take the sifter and we just gentle. Now, if you squeeze the sifter too vigorously, you get a whole big dump of stuff. And I'm trying not to get that. I'm trying to get a fairly thin coat. Now I'm going to leave all of this sit for a couple of days. And then I'm going to come in with a a vacuum cleaner. And because not all of this is going to stick. The stuff that's right against the water and the isopropyl is going to stick, but some of this stuff on top here is going to, it might absorb some of the adhesive, but most likely it's not going to. And so I'm going to vacuum that up. And I'm not concerned about trying to recover the excess, because it's just not worth the effort, to be honest. So again, another couple of spoonfuls. And pick this up. And gently, gently, gently. Instead of stretching, I'm going to do it from here. Now, of course, there's going to have to be a lot of vacuuming of the floor, because I'm not being as absolutely careful as I need to be here to so I think I need one more spoonful here. And let's just see if we can fill this little last little place. And again, it doesn't have to cover the gray paint all that much, because there's going to be buildings and structures and everything on top of this. But this gives me a nice base to put things on, and it's going to be all the same color, and I won't have to go and work around individual buildings as I do it. I'll be able to just put a building down and work with the surface the way it is. So the last thing I do here is to take the isopropyl again. And this is a very light misting. We're not trying to pour this stuff on here. We're just trying to break that surface tension. So that the glue that's in the grout, which actually is what seals it all together, is the grout itself. There's really no glue being put down. And I'm just going to spray this with, like I said, isopropyl. And as you can see, the sprayer sprays continuously. Even after I let go of the trigger, it sprays. Now, the way I had the buildings on site before is not necessarily going to be the way the buildings end up. I'm just thinking of a better arrangement for track layout and for what would make sense for the plant itself, the paper mill. So I'm just going to make sure I've got everything covered here, and everything has turned a little bit darker. And you can see it's not that complicated to do. but it, and you can see from the part I did earlier how it all becomes a nice flat color. So next week, as I said, I'm going to build the buildings in steps. So next week we're just going to concentrate on this area, and we're going to put the building in that goes in here, and we're going to permanently put this in place. I'm going to get I've got lots of sawdust from all the woodworking projects I've been doing, and we're going to taper this out so that it blends in more with the ground itself, and we'll now let this set, and in a couple of days, probably Monday, I'll do a vacuum of it, and then next Thursday we'll start with this, and this is the building. This is the building that goes down in here. Is it this way? Which way is it, David? It's this way. Yeah, it's this way. It goes in like this, right like that. And so you're just going to see I'm going to have to fill these gaps around it, and I'll probably just sprinkle a little bit of grout on that once it's filled in. And we'll just continue on until the whole scene is done. Track will be put down, and then there's several lines that come this way. And what we'll do is build the structure, bring the track alongside that one. Build the structure, bring along the track along that one. So we won't be laying track and then trying to fit it in, because I don't know the distances. All I know is that we'll have to go by the seat of our pants, basically. So I'm going to go back to the studio section of the basement here, and we're going to call it quits for the day, and I'm going to go ahead. For some reason, So, anyway, I seem to be having a problem with my Stream Deck. So, I want to thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Subscribing is free, and if you ring the bell, you'll get notified when I put up the next video. I usually shoot these on a Thursday, and try and get them out Thursday night. If I can, and this one's going out later than most. This is now almost 8 o'clock here, and we've been fooling around quite a bit. So take care of yourself, take care of your family, and as always, this is your railroad, and you can build it any way you want.